welcome to another episode of Mommy Needs a Break. It is a podcast for moms who don't have it all together because we don't have it together. But we don't care about your judgment because you're listening. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere.
And I'm Marisa Johnson at She's Marisa J. Make sure to follow Mommy Needs a Break on all platforms at MNAB Podcast. And you can check out our website at mnabpodcast.com for all updates and photos and news all about us.
All that stuff. All that good stuff. Yes. So yeah, you know how we do. I mean, today's no different, but we're talking about Black love. We're talking about how to make it work in your relationship in this digital world. Yes. And so our guest today, which I'm so excited, we have two guests, which we typically don't. So this is so beautiful. They are married. They've been together for 30 years, married for 22. They have 3 children, and they are life and relationship coaches together. They're so cute. And you can see them on Black Love. You know, they're just so cute. They have their own podcast called The Amazing Clarks. Give it up for Anthony and Melanie Clark.
Yay. Thank you.
Yes.
We just said you sound like a whole DJ, radio host.
Like, did you have like a radio life before?
No.
Did you do like voiceovers or something?
You know what? No, but I want to do it.
You should.
You were a preacher.
No. I be preaching. Trust me, I be preaching.
He's being shy. He was a rapper. He wrote music.
She said he was a rapper.
He was a rapper.
Yes.
He was a rap guy.
So you're a rap guy girl.
He's one of those guys that rap.
Yeah.
That's what we always say, right?
Yeah, I grew up in doing music, Brooklyn. So I did have a music career, rap career, but yeah. It's the voice.
It gives it away.
Yes, yeah, a little Biggie-ish. I close my eyes a little bit. I see you.
But
Biggie's cousin.
Let me share this.
I hear it.
When I first came from New York to California, my accent was so deep, and then I have a deep voice, and I'm laid back. People couldn't understand me. And so I'd have to repeat everything 10 times. And finally, I got so irritated with that. For an entire year, I stopped talking to people. And I learned to dilute my accent and my voice so that people could understand me.
Oh, wow.
And so what you're hearing now is the diluted version.
You was dimming your light.
Yes.
Not dimming it, I was harnessing it to be more, so people could understand me better.
I get that. I like it. Well, we understand.
It obviously worked because...
He's smooth talking.
Right?
You said that too. He was like, "Oh, you got a nice voice." That's how he got you, Melanie.
Yes. Back
She
in the
said,
day.
"Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie."
Yes. Yes and yes. I always say like the first month, I didn't even understand what he was saying, and I just said yes to everything. He's like, "She's so easygoing." I was like, "Yes." Just keep talking, baby. Just keep talking.
Read the book. Read this book. What's read the menu, the whole thing.
Just talk to me. Just talk to
Hilarious.
me. I would even call his answering machine just to listen to his voice on his answering machine. And I have my girlfriends listen. I'd be like, look at the dude's voice. He's so sexy.
That was 30 years ago, and I'm still blushing.
Yes.
I
I still love listening to your voice.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
I really do. Sometimes he talks to me, I just go, "You're so dreamy."
I was watching your guys' body language. Like earlier, you guys were like
holding hands,
and I was like,
"You guys hold."
so cute.
I know, right? Sometimes I'll be like, "Ugh." That's why I tell my fiance, "Get away." Sit over there.
We're
Too close.
constantly touching each other.
That's good.
Holding hands, hugging, laying down. It's like a magnetic pull.
Y'all.
So we always gravitate. Even walking down the street, we have our own signals. Like we hold hands, and if I squeeze once, that means stop. If she squeezes twice, that means make a left, or 3 times. So 30 years.
He trained me. The first time he did it, I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he was like, "We have our own little signal." And now he's got me trained just to be tapping. I'd be like, "Oh, we're going this way, we're going this way. Okay.
Like the car, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're mad at each other, do you notice like you pull away? I'm sure 30 years you guys have figured it out, but like earlier, would you be like, well, like I don't really want to hold his hand, or I don't want to really touch her when I'm mad?
You know what? We've been together for a long time. We love each other. We never get mad at each other and fight. Of course we get mad at each other.
Yes, we get. I was going to say,
I was gonna be like, really?
Wow.
No,
You know what? We get upset with each other. We have, I call them passionate debates. I don't like to say we fight. We have passionate debates. And like everybody else, you'll go through reactions where you're upset, you'll pull away. But when we pull away, our recovery time is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We don't like to stay mad at each other for long.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, he can still touch me when he's mad. He can still hug me. I can. And he always comes back and he'll rub my shoulder and say, are you ready to get back together so we can have some fun? Let's go have a glass of champagne and do something.
So
like, let's not keep doing this. And it still takes me a minute to be like,
don't touch me.
And then I'm like, okay,
fine.
All right.
Okay.
I'll meet you on the balcony.
Oh, I love that.
This is the truth. Yeah. And for me, I realized that when we would fight, when we have passionate debates, and then we'd pull away, I hate that feeling. Because this is what's the norm for us.
Yeah.
So the tendency is for couples to go, well, I'm going to wait for that person to do it. I don't want to give in now because then they think that they're right and they'll do it. No. But I realize as the man in a relationship, I got to lead. And as hard as it is, I have to get over my emotions so that we can get back to this. So I'll come back to it, like she said, and be like, hey, babe, you know what? I don't want to stay upset with you anymore. This is a day in our life that we're never going to get back. We could spend it fighting and being upset with each other, or we could spend it like we always do, having fun, loving on each other, and enjoying our life. Yeah. The choice is yours, but I'm not mad at you. I still love you. And I'll back away and give her space.
So mature. Yeah. Look at you. That is... So many men and women like myself could learn so much from those actions.
It's not easy, but it's practice. It takes practice.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Our other thing is that what helps, it's our perspective on passionate debates. So for example, we don't fight to win. When we have debates, we fight to grow. Because those debates, it's like you're on this level in your relationship and you're striving to get to higher levels. How are you going to get to the higher levels? They're not going to come to you. So to go there, you got to grow there. To go there, you have to grow there.
Right.
So those passionate debates, it's life showing you that when it comes to this area of your relationship, the muscles are still weak. If you want that amazing relationship, this is your opportunity to get better. Strengthen this and it'll get better. So we look at it like, okay, in most situations, we see everything eye to eye. But every now and then we have perspective collisions. So this debate is giving us an opportunity to not only understand each other better, but to understand ourselves better and come up with new strategies for what we're dealing with. So we don't look at it like a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. So don't fight to win, fight to grow. And then if you fight to win, your partner's, somebody's got to lose. Now you're married to a loser. Who wants to be married to a loser?
Right. I love the logic. All right, let's get into our first segment of the show. It's called, I'm about to say, I'm fine, y'all. I'm tired, okay? It's called Ain't No Shame. All right. Marisa, our shameful parenting moments that aren't shameful because we don't shame each other. So what's your shameful moment, Marisa?
We went through the holidays and I would say ain't no shame in just lying to your kids about like every holiday. Just everything. Just lie about everything.
Lying like what? What do you mean lying?
So like if you watch the show, I don't really celebrate too many things. It's just not me. But my husband, it's interesting because he didn't celebrate holidays by choice. It's like he wanted to. So he really gets excited about things. And B, I'm just like, why are we doing that? Like, what's the point? Like, what's the meaning behind that? Like, I'm always questioning everything.
Love it.
But like our kids, they're so cute. They're like 4 and they're 2. And they're like, Mom, look at those lights. Look at that. They're always confused. They're like, hi, happy Merry Kwanzaa. They're like, what to say? They don't get it. Because we just like wing it every year. I feel like we're just winging it. We'll get a Christmas tree literally like Christmas Eve. Like we just wing everything and no year is ever the same.
That's good.
And so sometimes, so I always say like, oh, Santa is your dad. I'm like, your dad works really hard. Like, it's Santa. Santa's your dad. Yes. And again, because, my kids are going to be walking around talking about this white man is buying all her presents. That's just me. If you know me, okay? So that's just, this is it. That's all. And so I was like, oh, do you want to go see Santa at Hilltop? It's Hilltop's Halo's favorite place to go get avocado toast. And she was like, Bobby, like, why? I thought Daddy was Santa. He's like, oh, well, because it's going to be a black Santa. He's like, well, that's Daddy's friend. Like, that's just Daddy's friend. Like, he helps Daddy. Like, let's come on. You're going to have fun. You're going to go. And she was just like, Okay. I was like, get up, come on, be a good girl today, okay? So we can go see Santa. And so like, I'm always lying. I'm just always lying, trying to like be a part of the world, not trying to be a part of the world. Josh,
you can go to school like, I think my real father is Santa Claus, but the black one. I'm not sure. I saw him at Hilltop, but then there's this man that lives at my house every day. But I think I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
It's gonna be so good.
And it's just, the Happy Berry Kwanzaa, that's every year. She'd be like,
Happy Berry
Kwanzaa. Happy Berry Kwanzaa. I'm like they look at me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I lie to my kids all the time, so ain't no shame. I just lie to them about the holidays because I don't even know myself. I haven't got to this. We haven't established these traditions yet as a family. Like every year, even when we didn't have kids, I think we went out the country. We went to like Bali. Like I've always traveled around the holiday, like solo when I wasn't married. So it's just I'm trying to figure this out with the kids.
Fair. Happy Merry Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Happy Merry Kwanzaa.
What about you guys? Do you have any?
I'm gonna borrow that.
Right. You have any shameful parenting moments that we're not going to shame you for?
Oh, you're gonna put me on blast first? That's what we doing? Okay, that's what we doing. You're gonna be shocked at the one I'm gonna tell too. So you ready? He's getting ready to be shocked. Okay. Shameful parenting moment. I caught my children with a back massager from my room.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I freaked out and grabbed it from them because we had a house full of people. And I ran and put it away in my room. And they were like, Mom, why can't we play with that?
Wait, a back massager?
Another term, it vibrates.
Oh,
yes.
The back.
A vibrator?
Your kids had it?
It's like, I gotta lock that thing up.
But it was a back massager.
Oh,
but they didn't have a clue
using it for
until
our back.
her reaction. Yeah. Until her reaction. So they were just like, okay, la la la. Teenagers, like, la 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 la. And she was like, oh my God.
Oh, they were
and she ran and grabbed it and ran. They're like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, okay. They're like, Dad, why is she tripping? Why'd she do that?
Then I had to have a talk and explain why I acted the way that I acted. And that was my shameful parent
what
moment.
Did they say?
I had to have this talk with them that I didn't really
boys
want
or
to
girls?
have.
It was the girl and the boy. No,
what?
It was Evan
Tony
and Tony.
and Evan,
Yeah, it's a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
But they were
My
in
daughter
their
was
teens,
really,
20s.
she was only, but she was little.
She was about 10.
Yeah, she was about
12.
10. She's 23 now, so she don't care.
Yeah.
And then my son was a teenager. He had no clue what was going on, but I was just like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
So wait, what was the reaction once you explained to them?
They were like,
sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. You know what they said? You shouldn't have done anything because we didn't even know what it was. We would have never known. It was my reaction.
That's true.
It's usually what it is.
Yeah, that's really
probably the best one we've ever had.
That's a good one.
And it flew over my head. I was like, why are you upset about a back massager?
But I guarantee you,
green heart.
I guarantee you guys that there are moms out there everywhere where their kids are finding the little special drawer. It's happened many times. It happens.
My kids walk around in my underwear. It's so weird. They put the special drawer. They pull out like the special underwear. They be having it on. They be like, look, Mommy. I be
like, no. Not the laces.
No.
Not that.
What was yours?
Okay. I think mine was when Tony was little. I think she was about 4. About 4. 3 or 4. And I took her to the park. And she was on a swing and I was pushing her. She kept going, hiya, Daddy. Hiya, Daddy. Hiya, Daddy. And I was like, okay. And I pushed her. She fell off the swing. And in slow motion, I'm watching her. She literally did a somersault in midair. And I'm like, no. And she flips. Oh, sorry.
like that.
And she lands, boom, dead on her feet. She turns around, looks at me, goes, ah! And I was like, ah!
She landed on her feet?
She landed on her
That's a gym. She might be like, that's a gymnast. We got a gymnast.
Right.
I was so relieved that she landed on her feet. But as a father, I felt like garbage. I just felt like trash. I was like, but it wasn't my fault because she just let go. She had never done that before. And so then I was like, should I tell her mother? Or, should I keep this to myself?
Right.
Nah.
You tell Mom.
Yeah, so I told Mom.
Yeah, he told me.
You always got to tell mom. Because they'll tell you.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you,
kids will tell
Mommy,
you.
today Daddy pushed me off the swing. What?
Yeah,
Pushed you
right.
off?
So
They always tell.
To this day, she will not go to the park with me.
Hilarious.
Just joking.
Let's talk about you guys. You've been together 30 years, married for 22. What is one tip to keep your marriage spicy and fiery?
Get a back massager.
Really? No, really?
It doesn't hurt. You know what I'm saying?
I always feel like he would be so offended.
That he
like
would?
the guy.
Now, when he sees your reaction, he won't. He'll be like,
You know what?
That is true.
It's an enhancer. It's not the main dish.
Right.
If it becomes the main dish, that's a different situation.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But in relationships, you shouldn't bring anything like that unless your relationship is secure anyway.
Yeah.
So.
all right, so keeping it spicy. But seriously, that is one way to do it. What do you have to say to keep it spicy?
Keep it spicy. We make out a lot.
Yeah.
Make out?
Yeah. Kiss
We make out a lot. And so
hand-holding.
there's lots of foreplay going on without even the sex. So all day long, we literally tell each other we love each other about 40, 50 times a day.
Yeah.
And
sweet.
not just words, it's with hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to do it. We've just been doing it for so long that's where we're at.
Norm.
That's the norm for us. That's where we idle.
This was a big one for me. We had a conversation, and I love when he touches me. I love touching him. But I had to say, like, don't go in for the kill every time you touch me. Like, let's just touch each other as much as possible. We hug, we kiss, we make out.
We flirt.
And so it's just this constant foreplay that builds up. So by the time we get to it, it's like, we're so ready for each other.
But all you gotta do then is
before, when it was, but before, whenever we would, we start making out, then he's going in.
And it's like,
not
right now.
I'm in the kitchen. Not right now.
Right.
Like, wait, the kids are doing whatever.
Let's build this up. Yeah.
So it's just knowing that we're going to touch each other, and it's not going there in that moment. It's a buildup.
Right.
Were you? I was going to ask. Were you guys were you both raised to be touchy-feely people? Did you see relationships around you that mimicked what you have now, or did you have to kind of change some of the things that you
because
grew
I
up
was
with?
going to say, how did you get there?
To be like that?
Were y'all always touchy-feely people like this,
what?
or
We weren't raised around people that had that, and that's what made us want it.
Yeah.
Real quick. When I was growing up in Brooklyn, I was surrounded by people with bad relationships. And even at like 4 or 5 years old, I was very aware. And it bothered me to see them so unhappy. So it bothered me so much that I promised myself that one day I was going to grow up, I was going to find my soulmate, then we were going to have this amazing love affair, and then turn around and teach the rest of the world how to do it too. So as a kid, I would fantasize about and visualize this life.
Right.
So I wanted it even as a kid.
Yeah.
And so when I got it, it was like, okay, I was married before. We both were previously married.
Okay.
And those partners we were married to, they didn't value that. That wasn't important to them. So when we met, we knew that it was important to both of us, but to take it to the next level, we'd have to figure out our own roadmap to how to make it grow. Because the traditional way that most people do it, you ain't gonna get this with that.
And what is that roadmap?
Yeah. What is the roadmap?
What's the roadmap?
The roadmap, it's not, there's a bunch of things on that roadmap.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing, the number one most important thing, is both people have to be what we call relationship active. That means not only do you want that kind of love, but you're willing to get off your ass and do whatever it takes in order to get it. So Al Bundy, for example, sits on the couch like, I don't care. That's relationship inactive.
Yeah.
You need two people that want it so badly that it's like being tied to each other and climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
If one person wants to climb, the other one doesn't, eventually you're both gonna come down. But if both people are excited to climb, then you're gonna go places.
makes sense?
Also, we're best friends. So, and we're super attracted to each other. We've been together 30 years, and I still think like he's crazy hot. Like he walks past me and I'm like,
that's all me right there.
Yeah. So there's attraction. And then a lot of it, I say this all the time, has to do with your thoughts. You can get in the habit of having bad thoughts about someone and make yourself not attracted to them. So my thoughts about him are mostly, like, I'm human, I don't always have great thoughts, right? But most of them are how much I love him and how much I like him and what a good friend he is and how I love working with him. So I'm thinking that all the time. So that makes me super attracted to him. So that really works for me. And I really am aware of my thoughts. And all of us, that's how our brains work. We get addicted to thoughts. So you have to create good thoughts about each other and keep visiting those thoughts. It'll make you feel good. That's what creates our emotions, our thoughts.
And that's why we said about the love. Like we talk like that, like constantly, I love you, I love you. And the more you do that, the better it feels. You get a dopamine hit each time you do it.
Yeah.
So you get addicted to it. So then you start to find and filter in more things about each other to love and appreciate. So whatever story you tell about your partner, that's what you're going to filter in. That's what you're going to attract. So be careful what stories you tell. And even when you're pissed off and upset with each other, yeah, it's okay to be upset for a little while, but you don't want to get caught into telling a negative story about your partner.
Oh, that's big.
So you want to turn yourself back around. That's why the makeup, the recovery time is so important. And that recovery time, when I'm upset with her, starts off like, I can't believe she did that to me. Who the hell? I ain't taking this from. I'm from Brooklyn, son. You can't go in front of this. You can't take that. Then it's like, that's my baby. I love her. She's got my back. She's just having a bad day. I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
You know who we are. That's my girl. Let's get back to having fun. So I'm turning myself around with my perspective.
You're still calling me your girl. I'm in my 50s and you're still calling me your girl. I'll be your girl forever.
That's so sweet.
I'll be your girl forever.
Right.
I love that.
And then I think the last one I would add is, and this is part of what we were just talking about, what we're doing is consciously creating our reality. Most people are unconsciously creating their reality. They're in default. They're asleep at the wheel. They bump into something, then react. Bump into something, then react. And they're going to react based on past things that they were taught or seen. So that's unconsciously creating it. We're consciously creating it. We're aware of our thoughts. We're aware of our emotions. We're aware. And so that if you're conscious, you can build anything you want.
Can you share with us a little bit about how you guys got into the relationship coach business and like kind of the road that led you to that and what it is, just the overview of that.
Right. I'll take it. I'll start.
Sure.
Okay. So it started with me, and like I said, I was married previously. I got married really young to my college girlfriend. And to make a long story short, that went really bad. She got pregnant with twin boys that I thought were mine. I had an athletic career, baseball career, and a basketball career. Make a long story short, lost everything. Kids turned out to not be mine. Got divorced. Hit rock bottom. But I knew that the woman for me was always out there, that one that I dreamed about as a kid. I could always feel her. I knew my first wife wasn't the one. And I knew
did you always know she wasn't the one? Or was it like...
I always knew it. I always knew it.
That's so,
Because she didn't fit the vision. She didn't fit the vision that I had as a kid, that vision that I held on to even throughout my teen years until a young adult. And she was relationship inactive. So when I got out of that marriage, I hit rock bottom. I was even suicidal. I lost a professional baseball, basketball career, and twin boys that were named after me. And the marriage. And I'm in my early 20s now.
Wow.
So I hit rock bottom, but then I realized that life was actually giving me a second opportunity. And I'm going to eventually meet her, the one. And she's going to be all that. So I got to get my shit together and be the best me possible. So that's when I really started my personal growth and going within. And then during that process, I got so good at dating women, attracting women, making women fall in love with me, you name it, that other men start coming to me like going, yo, how you doing that? Like that movie, Hitch.
Oh, yeah.
That is literally my story to the T.
Hilarious.
And I started teaching other men.
Yeah.
And then they'd bring more guys back and they'd have success. And then I met her. And I immediately identified that she got it. She was a coach, but she didn't know she was a coach. And so as I kept building my coaching career, eventually she came in to coach with me. Then we expanded from men to couples.
Wait, were you guys dating or?
This is when you were
Yeah, we
married.
were dating.
You started.
Oh, you were dating. Okay.
Did we?
Yeah, we
started
were
when we were
dating.
dating.
Yeah, we were dating.
Like right
Oh,
before.
wow.
It was
Yeah.
right before we got married.
Right.
Okay.
It was right before we got married that I came in and started helping him. And he had a music career, and I would help coach the wives because they were tripping. Like, they'd go on the road and their girls going to be around. And so I would coach the wives, and then I would tell him, like, I'm keeping them chill, like helping them through it. And then he'd say, you're a coach, like you need to coach with me. But I was really resistant because I didn't want to get lost in him because I love him so much. You know what I mean? He's already such a huge part of everything that I do that I was a little bit afraid of it. I was afraid, like, I'm going to get lost in him. Like everything he does, I'm doing too. Like I want to still, be my own person.
Yeah.
And so once I started coaching with him, I really was into self-help anyways, because we had very similar stories. I had been married before. I had 2 kids. I owned a home, and my marriage didn't work out. So we met 6 months after my divorce. Okay. So and then after that marriage failed, I did the same thing he did. I started reading self-help books. I went to therapy. I grew up with an addict mother, so I learned about codependency because I was really afraid to be a codependent person, which can happen a lot when you have, parents with addiction. So I just really was into so many things. And then we had that in common, like self-help. We would talk about brain science and energy. And so we're just so passionate about it. It just made sense that we started a business, sharing that information with other people, because we were looking at ourselves and saying, we want to make sure our marriage works. We both failed at marriage very early on. And so we talked about what went wrong. We talked about what was good and how we could take our lessons into this relationship.
That was the roadmap that I was talking about. That's how that started. Yeah. And we used our relationship and what we went through once we created the roadmap for us. And it was so unique, but it worked.
Yeah.
Then we started sharing it with other people. But one thing with that roadmap was our expectations were high. So even though we were dating, right from the start, we had an agreement that I don't just want a partner, I want a soulmate. I don't just want a relationship, I want a lifetime of bliss. If I can't have that, I'd rather be single. And she felt the same way. Yeah. So it was like, okay, so if you agree to take this mission on, then that's what it's going to be about. It was like, good, let's stick with it. And like we said, that was 30 years ago, and we stuck to it and just kept expanding it. And even to this day, the roadmap, we're still expanding it, still taking it to new levels, because we're always striving for those higher levels. You'll never reach the highest level of love.
Right.
But it's great to shoot for it because there's always more and more and more. We literally fall more in love all the time. So a couple of weeks will pass and we'll go through something and it's like, babe, so yeah, you feel that? I feel that. I feel more in love with you. Me too. I'm more in love with you.
Yeah.
And it happens just like every couple of months. Yeah.
I mean, what advice, would you give married couples? I've been married 5 years. I feel like that's still relatively new. Yeah. Still learning new things with 2 babies. Like what are 3 things you would tell, a new couple, kind of get to these next levels in life,
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
I could think of 3 off the top of my head.
Let's do one each.
Focus on the love. Like it's so easy to forget the love when you start thinking about bills and work and kids and laundry. And at the end, all that stuff is going to go away and you're going to be left with each other.
Right.
So you got to remember to stay focused on the love while you're in it and don't let that get lost. And that's why we're saying we love each other all the time. That's why we're holding hands. We're focusing on the love part.
Right.
And so to me, that's huge. When you focus on love is contagious.
It is, yeah.
It's contagious. And you can let the little stuff go, right? But when you're not focused on the love, the little stuff starts to pile up and then the thoughts go to, I don't even like you that much. Right? But when you focus on the love, you're like, oh yeah, I'm crazy about you.
Right.
Oh, you pick them socks up later, baby. It's okay.
Good job.
I mean, is that like where the love language book comes from? Because I feel like we started, we've never finished it.
It's part
is that okay?
That's part of it. But
like learning how someone receives love, or
yes,
give
or
it,
right?
give it, because everybody receives it
differently.
Yeah. Similar in a lot of ways, but different preferences.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. But when I say focus on the love, like why did you get together in the first place?
Right.
What made you love that person in the beginning?
Yeah.
Right.
Like that was what started it. Go back to the beginning and remember, like, I fell in love with you because I saw your greatness. And I have forgot to look at your greatness for a while because I've been looking at all the stuff you ain't doing the way I want you to be doing it.
So
Just so easy.
Yeah.
Go back to that. Like if you do that, like if you just right now were to think about when you fell in love, all those love feelings come back into your body.
Yeah.
That's true.
You have the ability to bring them back.
Yeah, that is true.
Right? So that would be one for me. What else would you say? You
So
got
number
two
one,
more.
focus on the love.
Mm-hmm.
Number two. Number two would be fill your own void.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So when you first meet somebody, and it's like we have this empty void inside of us that doesn't feel good, like something's missing. And then you meet that person, then it's like, oh my God, when I'm around that person, it's like my void is being filled. I want to be around you. But eventually that person's going to take the attention away from you, act in a way that you don't like. And then that void's going to come back. And then you're going to be like, wait, I need you to do this. Fill my void. Then you're going to be needy, and that person can never fill your void. You have to learn to do it yourself. So I love this woman to death, 30 years together, but she does not fulfill me. She does not fill my void, nor is it possible for her to do that. In a relationship, it's my job first and foremost to fill my own void. It's her job first and foremost to fill her own void, to be the best her, me to be the best me to take responsibility for my own happiness, regardless of her. Self-fulfilled. And when you get two people together that are self-fulfilled, it's much easier to build on top of that. But if one person is and the other person isn't, it's going to be off balance. So it's going to be really difficult.
Makes sense.
So fill your own void. Take responsibility for your own happiness and being the best you.
Okay.
What would you say the third one is?
Number 3,
I love it.
limerence.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Limerence.
limerence.
L-I-M-E.
Oh,
that?
you're going deep on them. You're giving them the
y'all
real
getting
stuff.
deal. Okay.
What?
He's giving you
So-
the real stuff now.
When couples first meet and they fall in love, you know that feeling of being in love, the little gushy
The one I told you to revisit.
Right. And when that feeling is intoxicating, it's called limerence.
Okay.
And when you're in love, your brain's creating a chemical cocktail of dopamine, oxytocin. Anytime you think about that person or around that person, your brain literally, if they put it under X-ray, it responds the same way it does on cocaine when
Right.
you're in love. You're getting high, dopamine, high. Every time you're around them, you think about them, touch each other, high. And when you're in that state, you automatically focus on what you like and appreciate about that person. Other people could be like, girl, he ain't no good, girl. You don't see it.
None
You're
of
like,
it.
no. Look at his eyes. Look at his. That's where Love Is Blind comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's designed to just get you together. Now, between 1 to 3 years, that chemical cocktail starts to fade away. Then those feelings of being in love starts to go away. You may like each other. You may love each other compassionately, but it's not that passionate love. So then when that goes away, couples now starts focusing on, wait, something's wrong. And they start looking at what's wrong. You need to do this to make me feel that feeling. You're doing this wrong. Then they do it back. Then next thing you know, you become addicted to only seeing what you don't like, what your partner's doing wrong, and you grow further and further apart. So the way to get limerence back, to stay in limerence, we're still in limerence. And the way we did it is by constantly expressing our gratitude and appreciation for each other and for what we have. Gratitude and appreciation is love in its smallest and most concentrated form. The more you appreciate something, the more you'll like it. And if you keep appreciating it, you'll love it. And if you keep appreciating it, you'll fall in love with it. So that's the key. That's consciously creating your reality. The brain can't tell the difference between a lie and the truth. Whatever you feed it enough, it's going to believe.
Yeah.
So you can feed it some bullshit,
Right.
or you can feed it something that's going to benefit you and make your life better and your relationship better. So that's what the constant, I love you, you're amazing, I like that about you, you're beautiful. But then we start to filter and see more and more of that, of what we like. And the things that you don't like, you start to filter it out.
Right.
You don't see it so much. If you don't ignore it, every now you still have to deal with it, but when you deal with it, it's so much different, because if nine times out of 10 you're loving on me, tell me how wonderful I am, then every now and then you find a little thing like, hey, this thing over here, I'm much more cooperative and willing and motivated to change that.
Okay.
As opposed to if you're just constantly telling me what I'm doing wrong. what you don't like.
What if you, okay, so I know, because I'm sure you guys deal with a lot of couples. What about, because I know men are a little bit different when it comes to how they receive love, how they hear love, you know, just how we tell men to or not to express their emotions. So it's a little bit different. When you're in a relationship with a man who probably isn't the most like you're very open with how you love, how you, all this stuff. Most men are not. What would you recommend a woman do if she's in a relationship with a man who maybe isn't as open?
You want to start that off?
Yeah. You know, I think you guys mentioned earlier the love languages. I think that's a great way to start. Generally, when people are not affectionate, they didn't have those models. They don't know how to do it. So we tend to do nothing when we don't know how to do something. So using like the 5 Love Languages book is great because you're giving them 5 options, right? 5 different ways for you to identify your feelings. Yeah. And so then you can start to talk about those and incorporate those. So for example, with Anthony's love language is acts of service. So he's always doing things for me. And I barely notice it because that's not yours. That's not my love language. You know what I mean? It's seriously like I'll be like, oh, thanks. Oh, you brought me a blanket. Thanks. You give me some water. Thanks. That's awesome. I love you. But my love language is words of affirmation. So I want to hear it. Yeah. I want him to tell me. So we had to have that discussion. And then he pointed out to me, like, mine's acts of service. That's why I'm always doing stuff for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Clicks. So what do you want me to do for you? Because I don't think like that. Yeah. That's just not where my mind goes, right? So then one day I was cooking and we cooked together and he would always go sit down on the couch after we were done. Oh, get your plate. What you doing? And then I was like, do you want me to serve you? And he, yes, please. And I saw it. I saw it. I was like, oh, it's the acts of service. Yeah. So now I always serve his plate. Okay. So it really is communication. And if you have someone who's not that expressive, bring in tools like books and watch videos and take courses because we have to sometimes learn how to love. We don't always know how to love. Yeah. And so I think the 5 love languages is a great way to start because everyone gives a different love language. I'm over here thinking he knows how much I love him because I'm just telling him. And that same thing I was doing. He's like, yeah, good. Well, when you going to do something? Like, when you going to show me? When you going to show me? Yes, show me. Yeah. So I got it now. So I do it now, but I didn't know that in the beginning. And he didn't know that I wanted to hear it. You have to tell them. And here's something else. As women, like there's this really wide belief, like if someone loves you, they will know what to do. It's not true. It's not true. No one is a mind reader. Right. They're not mind readers and we're not mind readers, even though we think we are a lot of the times. We're intuitive, but we're not mind readers. There's stuff in their minds that the ways that they think we will never understand unless we ask them. Yeah. And then we allow them space to be vulnerable and we don't judge it. You can't judge it. And remember this, you guys, I heard you guys talking about little boys. There's a little boy inside of every man. They all have an inner child. How does that inner child want to be loved? Yeah. How you love your little boys?
I was going to hit that point too.
Tell us all about it. Get out of my head.
She's reading my mind.
Tell us all about it.
You're going to become mind readers once you get together long enough. Actually, we do read each other's minds pretty well.
We kind of do.
Yeah. I was going to say that another way to get through to the man is to make him a superhero. So most women, when they're not getting what they want, they complain about it.
Is that how we sound?
Charlie Brown.
After a while, it sounds like, and we just, sure. All right.
Tune it out.
Yeah, tune it out. But when I'm saying make them a superhero, when we're little boys, if you notice, any little boy, we would like to get that towel and we run around the house, put it around our neck, and I'm Superman, I'm Batman, and that's why, because as little boys, we really want to be superheroes. But in order for us to be a superhero, there has to be a love interest. There has to be a woman involved that we save, and if she loves us so much, if she looks at us and she goes, "You're amazing, you're my hero," then our cape's blowing in the wind, like, yes, I am. And that's what we want as little boys. When we become men, it's the same thing. We want a woman that's going to look at us and feel like, "You're Superman." That makes us feel masculine. It makes us want to do more for you now. And to prove that we're superheroes. But like I said, most women are like, you're doing things wrong. You're doing this wrong. So we got our cape, and it's like basically what you're doing is taking the cape, going, get that shit off you. Get that cape off. You're a superhero. You're a damn villain. So eventually we feel like, wah, wah, wah.
Oh gosh.
So we don't want to perform for you.
Yeah.
We don't feel like doing anything special. We don't feel like we're special. But then the danger with that is that there's always going to be some chick out there that's going to be like, you're special. You're a Superman. You mean I can go get my towel and put it on my neck for you? Like, yeah. So
exactly.
That's the way to inspire men. Show them that the good in them.
Yes.
You made me think of my next question of, times have definitely changed from, when you guys started dating and to now, and like with social media, there's so many distractions. There's so many options. I feel like that's why men don't even feel like it's necessary to be in a relationship, or maybe it's too hard because there's all these different options. And I would say for women too, because I know a lot of women I talk to who are like, well, he does this for me and he does that for me. And it's just like, I mean, do you ever come encounter with not relationships, but people who think like that? Like, what do you feel about this new era of dating and swiping left and all that?
We're actually very connected to that scene because we coach so many single people. I mean, we get single women especially come to us all the time that want to get married and attract love. And so we go through their experience with them.
I need my assistant in here listening to this right now. I need her coming in here.
And boy, do they attract love. We do so many. Once they attract the partner, then we help them to build the relationship with the partner. They come to us for coaching. Then they get married and we officiate the weddings. And then they have the babies and we have, so we were just in the car before we came in here.
We're life coaches.
A client sent us a video of her having a baby.
Her second
baby. And she came to us as a single woman. We helped her through the whole process. They said she would never have kids. We helped her get through that, changed her perspective. She has 2 kids now. And so we're very connected to that scene, the dating scene. And I actually think that for one, it's great that there are so many options and that it's not done traditionally like what it used to be, where relationships are based on, you're expected to be in a relationship, a checklist. My wife, like she did that. So now people are holding out because they want love. They want quality. They want the freedom to be them and do it their way. And they don't want to settle. So it was what we're doing, what we did early on, refusing to settle and wanting that. That's what more singles are doing today. And so I applaud it.
That's a great way to look at it, actually. And
I always tell our singles, like, before you do online dating, you have to decide, I am going to get married. Yeah. It is going to happen. Because what I see happen where there's usually a struggle is they go in fearful. Like, it's never going to happen. I'm not going to, nobody's good. I can't find the right guy. And you guys would be amazed. Like, I can have a handful of clients that are killing it, just dating the best types of partner. I have too many choices and I got to choose one. And then there's other ones that there's no one on there. Why are they having different experiences? Yeah. It's the mindset. It's how you go into it. I tell my clients, if you're doing online dating, get dressed up before you go look at your emails. You used to get dressed up to go to the club. You were excited about dating. You were excited about meeting people. They're not excited about it anymore. It's a job. Yeah. It's like, I just got to get through this. But you got to, back to focusing on love. I want love. I want marriage. I want a family. He's out there looking for me the same way I'm looking for him. Yeah. We coach men too. Men want family. They want marriage. We got to stop telling the story. They don't want it. Yeah. They don't want to be controlled. They don't want traditional relationship a lot of times. And when I say traditional, just the male-female roles, they want more openness, more option. Yeah. And we all have the ability to do that. It's the stories that we tell, but both of us, everybody, love and connection, it's human nature. We have to have it. So I think it's exciting that they have so many options. Yeah. I'm thrilled to be married, but I was like, shit, if I was single,
it's real.
Honey,
it's the truth.
Watch out. It'd be on and popping. I love you back.
I love you back. It is what it is. I'm not trying. No, we've had that conversation. It's like, are you kidding me? If we would have had that when we were coming up,
we still would have found each other.
Yeah. Actually, of course, we would have found each other. I believe that.
I'm happy that, I feel like mindfulness is really starting to be a theme in the Black and Brown community, being aware of your mind, being aware of like what you believe and think can happen in your life. It's like a real thing. Like whatever you envision. I was having this conversation with him today. Like whatever we think, like we have proven to ourselves that we can do.
Yes.
And so I'm happy that more Black and Brown people are like learning this way of mindfulness, because it plays such a big role in our relationships.
In your life.
Not just relationships, in life.
In life. In life. Because I'm thinking, I'm like, it wasn't until I started to believe that I could be a wife, I could be married, I could be a mother. Because my whole life I was like, there's no way I can have that, be that, want that. Because you compare it to all of the situations you see. But literally, in the moment I started to like carry myself different, work on the things, believe that I can attract someone that would like love me, is when it happened.
It's the belief.
It's like the only time it ever happened.
It works.
Like,
abs, believe in abs after the baby, believe abs.
Right? A lot of people,
your body's nanotechnology, it knows what to do.
Yes.
Even a lot of people think that that's like magic and airy fairy when you talk like that. Like law of attraction, airy fairy.
Black and brown people are magic.
Yes.
They are magic.
But
yes, they are.
Because we study, like that's what we teach. We teach that's part of conscious creation. And
mindset.
We've been teaching that and studying that for like 20 plus years and living it. And when we learned it, that we first were introduced to it, we were living it, but we didn't have the terms for it. And we wanted to understand the science of it, so it wouldn't be airy-fairy, not just think positive and things will work out, magic dust is going to fall from the sky and the fairy is going to... No, we wanted to understand the science, because then once you understand that, it's easy to implement it and make it work. And so what you're talking about is not maybe, it's a fact. I'm telling you that from a scientific point. The outside world is literally just a hologram of what's going on inside of you. So what you're seeing outside of you is actually inside of you. You're creating it. So you can create whatever you want. But if you don't know that, then everybody else is going to fill your head with beliefs and you'll create those beliefs. You can't have that. There are no good men. Relationships don't work. Then that's what you're going to have. Then you're going to manifest that in the outside world. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's how you change the things outside of you, change what's going on inside of you.
Right. And that's why I think it's so important now that we have all of these different outlets for people of color, because it's evident that you're going to see things and think things, but we have this representation now that's so different from before, where we can see Black love and see us being successful and all these things, because maybe if your mind isn't strong, but you're able to see yourself in powerful images. And you guys are on Black love.
Yes.
Doc, shout out to
Cody.
We love Black love. We love Black love.
And that's one of the things we love about Black love. It's showing them a different narrative, a different story, a different belief system.
Right.
And
the possibilities.
Right. And so what you see is what you're going to believe. But then actually it's flipped too. What you believe is what you're going to see. So take control of what you want to.
I actually think there's been a movement the last 20 years to talk people out of love. And
now 100%.
We're
independent.
And so now we're turning we're turning that corner, and now we're talking ourselves back into love.
Because everybody lonely, okay? Everybody got lonely.
We need each other.
But
literally, there was a there's a campaign. A bunch of dating books came out in the 90s of just kind of turning us against each other. Don't date him if he does this, and make him do that. There was one called The Rules. There was another one that he's just not into you. That messed women up.
Oh man,
that messed us up, because before that book, we knew every man was into us. Because we're women,
right? Why wouldn't they?
Right? And then people started spreading that. Oh, he's not into you. And so that created insecurity. And once insecurity seeps in, it's hard to believe that you can have what you want to have.
You know, that's one of the reasons why you were talking about men that aren't really relationship active. That's one, I'm proud to be out here modeling it. Because men, we just have not been taught. And they haven't seen other men that can be like that. So it's like by them seeing me do it, I'm giving them permission. And I happen to be the type of guy where the average guy, the men will look at it and be like, okay, he's a real man. So if he can do it,
he's flawed.
He's
a man's man.
He got a girl. And
Because otherwise we've been programmed through TV and those old movies and Charles Bronson and Clint Eastwood and all of those, that macho guy, men don't cry, men don't. It's like, nah. So we're changing the narrative. But men are getting it.
Yeah.
They are. I believe they are.
Yeah. This makes me so happy just talking about these relationships. I know, like, you know, I had to look at myself I started going to therapy about a year ago because there was, you know, my parents have been together, 40 plus years. And there's certain things that I never knew I didn't know because I have friends who are like, oh, I didn't have a mom and dad together in the house, you know, single parent home. I didn't see this. I didn't see that. And I was just always be like, oh, you know, our parents have been together. But I never thought about, like, there's still things that I am missing or that I need to learn about. Like, you know, one of the things I talked to my therapist about was, like, I had never seen my parents fight, but I knew, like, people fight. So in all of my relationships, when there was disagreements and we had an, you know, argument about something, in my head, oh, we're done.
Yeah, it's a problem.
But we're not going to make it because we're fighting. Yeah. Whereas I wish my parents would have at least had some kind of disagreements in front of me so I would have learned how to fight effectively.
How to problem solve.
Right. So now, like, with my fiance, there's been so many times I've told her, I was like, oh, girl, we're not going to make it because we thought about this. And so, like, now that I've been, and she's like, girl, y'all like 4 years and y'all got two, like, just come on. But like, now I know, like, oh, that doesn't mean that we're over. It means, like, we need to come to an agreement, and I need to find out how to, like, conflict resolution. I need that better. I just hadn't seen it. And so I was like, oh, you know, these, you know, even though my parents have been in front of me 40 years, like, still there's things that I didn't learn and I'm still learning. Yeah. I love therapy.
No, I agree with you 100%. I advise couples all the time. You should argue a little bit in front of your kids, but you should also resolve it in front of them so that they go, oh, sometimes things happen. Yeah. But we still love each other. Yeah. Also, they have to learn disappointment. Do you know how many young people we coach that can't handle disappointment? Because parents have protected them from everything. Yeah. So when they get out in the real world and it goes like it goes, they can't even handle it. So how we have relationships, how we love each other comes from our programming. And our programming is school, our parents, what we see, what we hear, what's on TV, music. I was telling Anthony the other day, like, music from the 70s comes on and a lot of it's just love. It's, you know, it's from the 60s, right? We love each other and love. And that's the music we grew up on. But the music now a lot of times is that bitch and that hoe. And it's like, I don't feel any love in that. It's good to dance to. Right? So everything programs us how we see each other. The information we take in helps us develop a perspective on how we see each other. But we can take that back. We can decide how we want to see each other.
Yes. You know, I'm going to jump into the subject real quick. Don't mind me. It's just what I do.
Yes, you do.
Talking about the fighting. Like, going back to that. And this is something a nugget I'd like to give couples. Different perspective on fighting, quote unquote. In a relationship, there's more than just two of you, more than just you and your partner. There's at least four of you. So, for example, there's Melanie, there's Anthony, and there's little Anthony, and there's little Melanie. So what drives couples crazy sometimes with their partner while they get into it is because we all have our childhood traumas. And that younger version of us is still alive, just as alive as we are energetically, as we are today. So, for example, my wife is brilliant, on point. She got it.
Yes, she is.
But every now and then in our relationship early on, something would happen. I'd say something and something would happen and she would just flip on me and just go off. And it's like, whoa. And then the more I try to explain stuff to her, the worse it gets. Yeah. And the more chaotic, and it's like, whoa. So then I back off and it's like, okay, what's going on? I'm tripping. Then she'll come back sometimes like, what? I didn't do that. What? And it was like, wait a minute. Like, am I crazy? I'm not stupid. And so what I realized what was happening, and this works both ways with me too.
Hey, you do it too.
When she got triggered, maybe something I said, maybe the way I said it, you never know what it could be. But adult Melanie would leave the building. The one, my wife, that I would normally, and then that little girl, traumatized little girl would show up. And when a girl is traumatized, a little girl, the last thing that she needs is somebody talking sense into her. When they're in that energy, they want to just feel loved, they want to feel heard, they want to feel safe, they want to feel secure. And So I realized that when little Melanie showed up, first I had to identify it. Then I had to build a separate relationship with little Melanie. And the more little Melanie would learn to love and trust me, the more adult Melanie would learn to love and trust me. Yeah. And so I had a different strategy when she showed up. Instead of taking things personally that she would say, I saw that little girl and was like, ooh, because she grew up in foster care and she had to play small. But she couldn't have a big voice, and she felt overpowered by people in the situation, and she was afraid of her future, and nobody was there for her. So I had to do that with that little girl, and then it brought me closer to her. And then the less triggered she got. But then little Anthony, the same way. Little Anthony grew up feeling not appreciated and respected. So anytime someone does something that I perceive as you trying to disrespect me or not appreciate, little Anthony shows up, now I'm pulling away.
Shuts down.
I'll shut down. Or I'll get, you push me enough, I just get explosive, just like.
But
and
go ahead. Oh no, but to your point earlier of doing like the self-work, like it's for yourself to identify what those triggers are and what those things are. Yes. I was doing some exercises from a program for my cousin, the Hood Healer. She had this inner child workshop that she did. And we had to do answer a series of questions, go through a series of rituals. And one of them was like writing a letter to your childhood
your inner
self.
child.
And reading it out loud in the mirror. And there was some prompts, obviously. And like when I did that, oh my God, it was just like
so freeing. Yeah,
it's life changing.
Oh my goodness,
we have all our clients do inner child work. It's part of our coaching.
And and then it's easier for you though to identify those things. Like when you talk about fighting, my parents fought in front of us, and so like whenever. He might not know it. He's like, if he raises his voice a little bit, it's not yelling, like anything that sounds just out of the normal of just
normal
talking.
Tone, yeah.
I like freeze up.
Yeah.
I don't even know how, or I get super like ready to fight.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and so in that inner child work, identifying those things, again, it does come back again to yourself of like identifying those things so you can communicate. It's like when you say that, like, it makes me feel like this because, my dad or my mom used to say this. And, it's not their responsibility to fix that, however, but,
they can understand.
They can understand why you're acting the way you're acting.
Because what happens is that once one person's inner child shows up and says it does something, it triggers the other person's inner child.
Right. Two little
now you got two little kids trying to solve an adult problem.
How do you not get offended? I think that's my problem. When I think about these things, like my feelings be so hurt
too, like a little kid.
How do you go? Okay, I see your inner child has showed up. Like, let me not be offended. How do you put that wall up to like make sure your own feelings and your own space is safe when you're trying to like be the more mature one, I guess, and keep your adult self as opposed to your inner child?
This is a tough one because you love that person and you care. The reason that you get your feelings hurt is you care about how they see you, right? Okay. You care about what their perspective is on you. And so for me, when I see Anthony's inner child, I realize that's not Anthony the adult. Yeah. That's his trauma. And so how he's seeing me or perceiving me right now does not matter. Like I literally have to tell myself, like I have to focus on how I perceive me. I know who I am. I know what my intentions are. He's in trauma right now. So I literally, my self-talk goes to, I love you, Melanie. You're doing great. Like stay connected. It's okay. And I recognize that he's being vulnerable. And when someone's being vulnerable, you have to consciously say, I'm not going to take you being vulnerable as a personal attack on me. That's just your perspective. That's just their perspective. Yeah. Right? And so if you go, your perspective is wrong and bad and it's making me look bad, then you're taking it personally. I want to hear, well, why? Right. Why do you have that perspective? What did I say that made you think that? What did you think I meant by that? So that's the fighting to grow. Ask questions instead of just, and this is what we tend to do. We jump to conclusions. You think I'm bad. You don't like me. You, honestly, be real. You think I'm a bitch.
I'd be acting like a baby. I'd be like, so you want to get a divorce?
Yeah.
Like, what? I didn't even say all that. I'm just sitting here trying to tell you how I feel. I'm like, Oh, okay. I don't know. I just, sorry.
You know, you got to remind yourself, this is that moment. This is that moment where we're connecting and we're growing, and he's being vulnerable. And in all honesty, it takes practice. He's had to tell me, I'm being vulnerable right now. Oh yeah, you are. Huh? Okay.
My bad. I'm sorry.
And vulnerability is what connects us.
Yeah.
When we share, we connect.
Yeah.
But we've been taught like, oh, somebody's thinking bad of us. I think it's the world we look into, right?
It's like another form of intimacy.
Yeah. You got to see all your bad stuff and be okay. Like, yeah, I have this, and my inner child shows up, and I go crazy sometimes. Anthony, I'm sorry.
She's out here.
Instead of no, I don't do that. Did you see me do that? What did I do? How was I? So I can learn about me too.
And as far as the dealing with the anger, I'll say for me, and we do this together, but for me, my goal in life on a daily basis is to live my life in alignment as much as possible. And when I'm saying alignment, I'm trying to say like with my higher self. And so our higher self, our higher selves, we believe it looks at everything because it's the creator of everything. And you're a part of that energy. So your higher self knows that everything's created of love. So your higher self looks at everything in every moment through the eyes of love, abundance, and appreciation. And when we look at things through the eyes of love, abundance, and appreciation, it feels amazing. When other people look at us through the eyes of love, abundance, and appreciation, it feels amazing. And it feels amazing because that's our higher self letting us know right now your perspective on this subject matches the perspective of your higher self. You are in alignment. And when you're in alignment, life is magical. That's when you're at peace. Your intuition's off the hook. Everywhere you go, people are attracted to you. Every move you make, it works out. Your spirit says, make a left. You make the left and you meet something where, oh, it's perfect. I strive every day to live my life like that. Now let's flip that. So when you're in alignment, it's like you can hear your spirit clear, like, hey, can you hear me? Make this left, make this move, and it works out. When you're out of alignment, whenever we look at things through the eyes of shame, anger, fear, doubt, guilt, any of those, it feels horrible. And discomfort is our higher self spanking us to get our attention. Not to punish us, not because we're bad, but just to get our attention. To let us know, like, hey, right now your perspective on this subject does not match the perspective of your higher self. You're out of alignment. And when you're out of alignment, life is hard.
Yeah.
You have to struggle for just a little bit of progress. You don't feel good energetically. You feel hopeless. You feel frustrated. So it's like your higher self is trying to lead you to what you want, everything you want, but you've deviated off the highlighted route. And so the key is to get yourself back in alignment as quickly as possible. How do you do that? By thinking like your higher self. Yeah. How do you do that? By finding something.
Self-talk? You're doing good, Melanie.
Right.
It's okay. I love you. I'm bringing myself back.
Right. By finding something to appreciate about your situation, no matter what that situation is right then and there. As soon as you do that, you'll feel a little bit of relief. Yeah. Like, that means keep coming this way. So even when we have passionate debates, I'm going into it with the goal of being in alignment and seeing it through the eyes of my higher self as much as possible. So that helps me to, even if I'm out of it, I bounce back quicker thinking like my higher self.
Yeah. I have a final question, and it's not to be negative. It's more of like to help someone, who might not be in like the ideal situation. I talk to so many girls all the time, or women, but it's like, how do you know when it's like over, or like when it's not the right relationship? And you, and like you said, you knew somebody was there waiting for you, who was the one, and now all this magic has happened. It's like, is there anything that you just know, like, you guys, this is over, like, girl?
Good question.
I would say, like, when coaching, for sure, if one person is not relationship active. If we have a couple come to us and one is like, nope, I'm not changing. I'm not willing to do anything different. This is how I am, and that's it. It's not going to go anywhere because they're not willing to grow. And we're growing all the time. None of us are the same person we were yesterday. Right. And so sometimes people get into the mindset of, nope, I'm not doing anything different. This is just what it is. You're not going to win in a relationship like that. But if anyone comes in and says, I'm willing to look at myself, that's key. I'm willing to look at myself. Our coaching is about looking at yourself. It's not about beating your partner up and pointing your finger at them, because that's not going to get you anywhere. Like Anthony said, like, we all have our own void to fill, and we all have to learn to love ourselves so much that we have extra to give to our partners, extra to give to our families. We have to have overflow.
Yeah.
Right. And so if someone is unwilling, to me, that's when it's over. Another one is when they're just not willing to focus on the love. Like I have people like, no, I don't want to talk about the love. I want to talk about what she did wrong and why I'm mad. And if you can't move yourself back to the love, it's not going to go anywhere. You just want to abuse the person. You just want to beat them up. You just want to win. It's ego. Your ego just wants to win. Yeah. So for me, those are the two main things. And the reason that I chose those is relationship is a mirror. Our partners are a mirror. So back to what you were saying, like, I get so upset, I get so mad. There are parts of us that we can't see. So sometimes our partner's like, you doing that, or you're acting like that. And we're like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But you're just doing this. So then we project it back onto them. And we never get to see that part of ourselves that they're trying to help us see. It's like you got a booger on your nose, and they're like, you got a booger on your nose. And you're like,
no, I don't.
No, I don't.
Walking around boogering.
Right? So it's important in a relationship, if your partner is telling you something about yourself, and other people have told you, or they told you a couple times, to just say, I don't see that in myself.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to start paying attention, and I'm going to start to notice if it's there. I'm going to start to look for that in myself. And then really look at yourself. You'll find, oh, you were trying to help me the whole time.
Yeah,
because we literally can't see ourselves. Like right now I'm looking at you guys. I can't see my face.
Right.
I see you. I see your smiles, your facial expressions, but I can't see mine.
Yeah.
We need each other for that.
Yeah.
But we fight each other for that, right? Like, don't tell me what I look like right now.
You don't know my face.
We need the mirror. We need the mirror.
Yeah. And you know, and I'd say that was perfect.
Thanks.
You still make me.
Y'all are so peaceful. Like I have so much peace right now. Like
yes.
I'm like
peaceful.
It's just
so beautiful.
I'd say that for one, if you're in a situation with someone you're feeling like they're not cooperating, or you may not be good for each other, the key would be to stay in alignment as much as possible. Don't get sucked into their energy. Now, when you stay in alignment, a couple of things are going to happen. Either one, you're going to vibrate a certain frequency. If you hold in that alignment, being in it consistently enough, that it'll have a ripple effect with your partner. Mm-hmm. So it's like tuning forks in a room. If you have a bunch of them, you hit one, ding, then the other one, ding, ding, they'll all resonate at that frequency. So either if you stay in alignment, that'll happen. That'll affect your partner, and it'll pull them into alignment. Or if you stay in alignment and they don't get in alignment, they'll gently go away. And we see it all the time with couples.
really,
Yeah.
And you'll know that it's time when you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
When you can't, you'll know when you're at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times couples, they think they're at that point. Then they break up. Well, I'm done with this. I'm done this time. Next week, back again.
Right.
Next week, back again.
Yeah.
So staying in alignment, that'll usually take care of it. And when you had enough, you'll know.
Yeah.
There won't be even a question about it.
Right.
You'll wake up that day and be like, nope, done.
Today's the
Nothing
day.
can tell me to stop me.
I'm outta here.
Bags packed already. And actually, with my ex, my first marriage, I did that. We both did that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we stayed in alignment, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't change, stayed in alignment. They fought us.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, well, this is it, we're done. Nope, not yet. Not yet. Then I realized, okay, not yet. Not yet, give it time. I'll know when. Then one day it was like, she threw the ring at me again. Same thing again.
Caught it.
I'm gonna keep this.
Yeah, and it was like,
Pawn shop.
yeah, you think you're getting it back? Nope. It's like, okay, stay in alignment, go in a room, packed all my shit, put it in a bag, put my suitcase in the closet, because I knew it was gonna happen again. She was gonna come. Okay, yeah. You need to just fucking leave. You need to let's go, just leave. Okay, thank you.
Wow.
Bags packed. Wait a minute, your bags are done.
Yeah.
Never look back. So you'll know when you're done. But if I was out of alignment
Yeah.
and her energy, I wouldn't be done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I'm a vibrational match to her.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good tip that I would like to share. Don't say you're going to leave if you're not going to leave.
Yeah.
No one should be threatening to leave a marriage. You just shouldn't. You're going to ruin the marriage if you're doing that. We have an agreement. No one's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it helps create trust and security in a relationship. But throwing out, I'm leaving or I'm out of here, you're eroding the trust in the marriage.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Don't do that. Stay, and if you're that mad, go in separate corners, go in separate rooms.
Right.
If you need to leave, say, I'm coming back. I'm just going to go take a walk and cool off. It's okay to do that, but I'm out of here. I'm leaving. That's not okay. That's emotional abuse. It's abusive to do that in a relationship.
That's a good one.
Then if you leave under that situation, odds are you're going to attract it again.
Yeah.
So you might as well stay and do your work and clean yourself up and learn to get in alignment and learn to clean up the energy and the child work and all that stuff. And then if it still doesn't work out and you leave, you won't attract the same thing. So that's what I did in my first marriage. In that period after I hit rock bottom, it was like, no, do my work, get in alignment, master all this stuff. And then I was able to attract something very different.
Yes.
Right.
Me too.
This is so great. I'm over here. I'm like, wait, how much do we owe y'all for this beautiful for this session
I'm just
today?
like, can we be friends?
Right.
We all friends
Do
already.
y'all want to come over for
We all
dinner?
friends.
We are friends. We hang out whenever you
Yes.
want.
Now, where can people find out more about you, website, or if they, even just want to contact you for coaching?
If they look for a band.
Yes, right? We do a little bit of everything.
We got y'all.
Well, our brand is The Amazing Clarks, and we're The Amazing Clarks because after our clients work with us, they say, you guys are amazing.
Correct.
We
And
empower people
also,
to live amazing lives.
yes,
Yeah.
we empower people to live amazing lives. So you can find us at theamazingclarks.com. And all of our social platforms are also Amazing Clarks or The Amazing Clarks.
Or you can check out our podcast on the Black Love Podcast Network.
Yes.
Amazing,
Amazing
Clark
Clarks.
Podcast.
Yes.
We also have a book. It's an Amazon #1 bestseller, international and national.
Okay.
It's called Crack the Code,
Yep.
Okay.
available on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
And what else do we have going on?
And we train and certify life coaches.
Right, so anybody wants to become life coaches, we've been doing that for like 12 years. We've been training and certified life coaches.
And that's the Law of
And,
Attraction Life Coach Academy.
Right.
Wait,
And
what is it? A criteria? Because I feel like
if the criteria is you just have a love for coaching and helping other people and have some
Okay.
degree of experience,
Yeah.
And the fundamentals that we're going to teach you,
It's energy.
it's no matter what level you're at,
Yeah.
you'll be able to grasp it and immediately run with it. So it's a lot of the stuff we talked about today.
okay.
But then the thing that I want to share that I'm really, something I'm really excited about too, is that we're recently launched what we call Love Report Cards. And it's a tool for couples and singles as well. And basically, in today's society, especially, everybody's so busy. There's so much going on, the schedules, distractions, that it's really hard to make sure your relationship always has what it needs to succeed. And so Love Report Cards is a way that couples can always gauge what their relationship needs. Is it healthy? Is it strong? What do you need more of? What does your partner need more of? So you can help to keep each other satisfied.
Yes.
Was that a board game? What's it?
No.
Oh,
It's
it's
an
a
app.
board
It's
game?
an
Oh, it's an
online
app. Oh,
It's an
okay.
online
Oh, wait, is it
website.
already available?
Yeah, just go to our website. It's free. And you can use it on the website. And then if you're single, it helps you to identify when you found the one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It takes the guessing out. And it takes 2 minutes. You go through, it'll use 10 dimensions of love. You go through it and you grade them in each one of those dimensions. We found that over the years of us doing this with our relationship and with all our couples, that there are 10 most vital areas of a relationship. We call them the 10 dimensions of love. And if couples are able to keep each other satisfied in those 10 dimensions, it's almost guaranteed you're going to have an amazing relationship. And so
That's the roadmap
That's
that
the
you can
roadmap.
say. What's the
that?
roadmap? It's the 10 dimensions of love.
Yeah.
Babe, tell them the 10 dimensions of love.
trust, honesty, consideration, communication, attitude, attentiveness, supportiveness, physical appearance, romance, and sex.
Okay.
10 dimensions of love.
So do you see how all of that pertains to like both people being happy?
100%.
Instead of like, what's he doing or what's she
Right.
doing? Like, we don't even know what we're looking for. So
Right.
we really put a lot of effort into like, what exactly, because people ask us all the time, what is it that you guys have? Like, what are you doing to make it work? And these are the 10 things that we focus on in our relationship. And we tweak them and we get, sometimes, they're great. Other times we need to do work, but this is our roadmap to know that we're loving each other
Right,
the best
because
we can.
your relationship isn't one dimensional. People look at it like it's one dimensional. How are you? Oh, we're good. We're okay. No, how are we in what area?
Right.
Because you may be good with the sex, but then trust communication.
Ain't talking about nothing.
Now that's going to have a ripple effect against everything else in your life.
Yeah.
And you may not even realize that the communication and the trust is what's getting it. Or you might be good at trust and communication, but the attentiveness and supportiveness isn't there. And that affects everything. So it's like looking at the full system, the entire spectrum of your relationship, and being able to control what you need. We're doing great when it comes to this. Cool, let's do more of that. What can we do to improve this one or that one and that one?
That's why they say marriage is a choice every day.
It is a choice.
Every day.
It is.
Yes.
You guys are really good. You should do this.
Okay.
You guys are amazing. You should do this.
I told you that 22 years ago. We should have started 22 years ago.
You were right, babe. You were right.
All right, before we get out of here, our last segment is called I'm Fine. We say this. Sometimes we don't really believe it. We tell people that when they ask us how we're doing. But we want to leave you with a little inspiration.
Yes.
So you can really be fine.
If you didn't get any inspiration.
Right. I don't really need to say anything. There's so many nuggets today. But I'll leave you with this. Flatter me and I may not believe you. Criticize me and I may not like you. Ignore me and I may not forgive you. Encourage me and I will not forget you. Love me and I may be forced to love you. William Arthur Ward. That was just because I think it's really important, like what you get, what you think about somebody is what you're going to give. So think love, think kindness, think joy, think happiness.
Love that.
Yes, and you'll get that in return.
I'm ready to take a nap. I'm like so peaceful. I'm like, I'm going to get her a big old hug.
Let me go call my fiance right now. I love you, Marlon. You're watching. Yes, and one last time, how can people reach you on social media and your website?
Yes, theamazingclarks.com. Our Instagram is amazingclarks.com. Everything's amazingclarks.com.
Okay.
Everything's amazing, y'all.
Because they're just amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
We received that. Thank you.
Thank you for watching another episode of Mommy Needs a Break podcast. If you have any mommy and daddy guests that you want us to talk to, any interesting topics, put it in the comments below. I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere.
And I'm Marisa Johnson and she is Marisa J. Make sure to check out Mommy Needs a Break on all platforms and we will see you next week.
Bye.